special guest with me today. And short story before I introduce the man, I want to give you your flowers first because I like to do that too. So first, I'm gonna give you your flowers because we both went to the University of South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? PWI. Not many black folks was there. And I used to
Yeah.
see this guy on campus. I used to be like, this one cool, dope fella, cool, calm, laid back, collected. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Rocking the Vans like I've been rocking, you know what I'm saying? So I
No
always looked at
socks,
you.
no socks in there.
Yeah, those socks, you know what I'm saying? So I always looked at you as like a cool, dope dude, man. And I know our paths kind of cross circles here and there, but we never really hung out a lot. But whenever our paths did cross, it's always nothing but respect. So I do want to give you your flowers for not one, going to USC as well, getting in and things like that. But two, taking a route down marriage. You're Arthur, you're doing great thing, man. So it was a no-brainer to have you on here to chop it up with you, get to know you some more, get into all the details. So without further ado, man, we introducing Shawn Beach today, and he gonna talk to us about a lot of things. We gonna get into, for one, him being an author. Not many of us can say we are authors out here, so we gonna talk about that. But I'm gonna give him a chance to introduce himself from his perspective, and let's go ahead and clap it up for him. So go ahead, Shawn. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Boy, that intro right there, I feel like I gotta break a guitar or something, dog. And vice versa, bro. Like I see you around campus, man. And I thought you were on your own path and still doing that today and continuing to inspire others. So I'm grateful to be here and have conversations with other like-minded individuals. So let's get it, bro. I can't wait. Yeah.
Awesome. Love to hear it, man. So to jump into things first, man, I like to get an understanding of my guests. So really want to understand like where you from? Like where you from? Like what made you decide to go to the University of South Carolina, and how did you even end up there in the first place?
Yeah. So I was born in Texas, bro, but
Okay.
I'm from Columbia. I tell everybody, I'm from Columbia. That's where I spent most of my life.
Okay.
From kindergarten all the way up through college, I've been in Columbia. And
Okay.
so I guess that's the feeling that led me to USC. Just being from Columbia and then, growing up with just me and my mom, I kind of wanted to be in the vicinity and
Right. Not
make
too
my
far
impact.
from home.
Right, right. But the crazy thing is, like, there was a point in my tenure at USC where I thought about transferring and just moving to the West Coast, like all the way out there, bro, all the way.
Oh,
Because
wow.
at that point, I thought, you had to move to the, left side of the map to be in a position to make a big impact. And, I'm glad I stayed because now I realize you can make an impact wherever you are.
Dope. Thanks.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's
So
pretty
you was
much,
born and raised in Columbia. So see, I didn't even know you was born and raised in Columbia. You was right up the street from me. I was born and raised in Sumter. So you was like right up the
right down the
street,
road, bro. Yeah,
man.
yeah.
So, and what high school you went to in Columbia?
I went to Richland Northeast. We call it Northeast, but for your viewers out there,
Yeah, I
Richland
know a little bit
Northeast,
about Richland Northeast.
East
Okay,
Side.
cool. All right, bet. So I guess what I want to understand is like how did you become who you are today? I feel like a lot of us, we grow up and Columbia is something close to each other, but we grow up and it's different things that make us into who we are today, whether that's coming from a single parent household, whether that's coming from not much, whether that's staying in a town that you was grew up in and going to college there, that kind of can shape who you are today. So I would say, like, what's something that you feel like shaped you into who you are today, like from your upbringing?
hmm It's been a medley of events, bro. So, from just being in the house growing up, it was just me in the household. I have brothers and sisters, but it was just me in the house. So I spent a lot of time by myself. And of course, when you spend time by yourself, you're trying to figure out creative ways to have fun. Aside
Oh
from
yeah.
basketball and neighborhood, one of the ways I had fun was playing with the cloth. So I didn't play with
Oh,
action figures per se. I had a cloth that I would play with every day, spend hours and hours. And with this cloth, I could like see movies in my head. I could create scripts, and I would
oh,
spend hours. I mean, at this point, I still have the cloth today. I spent over 40,000 hours, practicing with this cloth. And got to USC, and man, I would leave parties and come back to the crib and just figure out how to use my creativity. And I can't sit here and act like I've had it all figured out, but now I'm at the point where, God's just shown me how to use my creativity, how to be effective, and the lane that I need to be in. So,
Okay.
whole mess of things.
I like that. I like that. And cloth. So when you say a cloth, is this just like a piece of fabric? Like how big is this? You got it
Oh, it's,
somewhere
I told you
deep.
it's on deck, man. Bro. So this is like one of the cloths. This simple cloth right here. Like it's a
So
regular
that is
washcloth.
that.
He's
Oh
beat up,
wow.
everything. You know,
Okay.
I'd
And
hold this cloth and I'd be making ideas with my head. I'd be looking crazy, man.
but hey,
And
it worked. It worked.
yeah, yeah.
But see, the
So
thing is, I always considered you and seen like your creativity from afar. Because I know you in college, you had like dope junkyard, correct? And I remember you put out some visuals for that. I was like, that's some dope shit for real. Like, I like that. I like that. So, like, I always seen like your creative mindset, and it's cool that you can place it back to like a cloth, just sitting there with a cloth and like under like coming up with ideas and things like that. So that's interesting. That's interesting. So do you feel like your creativity is something that kind of just came amongst you, or did you kind of grow into it? Like, did you feel like as soon as you pick up the cloth, you just started thinking about like ideas and ways to do different things from a creative lens, or did you feel like as you grew older, you kind of grew into like that creative mindset?
I think it was one of those things I've had since I've been little, and
Mhm.
I had to really sit down with myself even after college, and I asked myself, what is the gift, that big God has given me to use? What can I do the easiest?
Mhm.
Because I
Mhm.
think that's where I'm supposed to be headed. And I thought about it, man. Like I've been creating ideas and creating cartoons in my head since I've been a baby, or 5 years old, and I just had to figure out how to use it. And I think we all have certain gifts that we're supposed to be using, and it's usually what's easiest for us and what comes naturally to us. And
Mhm.
that way we can work hard at it to take it to the next level. So, and it doesn't even feel like you're working as hard as it would be doing something that you're not supposed to be doing.
Exactly. Exactly. So when it comes to like cartoons and stuff like that, um, like what's your inspiration? Like what's some of your favorite cartoons, or what's like a cartoon you like? That cartoon right there, they on to something. It could be something recent, or it could be actually both recent and older. Legendary.
Boy, that's a good question.
Cause I could say mine. I used to love the Flintstones, boy. I used to be the
So,
Flintstones. I used to
yeah,
I used to love me some Flintstones.
yeah. I used to
Even though
tap in.
that's before my time, but I kind of
Yeah,
inherited that from like my family and my
yeah,
mom
right,
and things
right,
like that.
right. Like a hand-me-down cartoon, kind
Yeah,
of,
it
right?
was a hand-me-down cartoon.
Yeah. And I think like funny you say Flintstones. I started off like heavy on, for some reason I was on Popeye, SpongeBob,
Oh yeah.
and then I saw Static Shock. See, a lot of people don't know about it.
Oh,
Static Shock on Saturday
WB.
morning.
On
Yeah,
Saturday mornings,
it's
WB.
WB,
Boy,
bro.
people sleep on Static Shock. See, I was one of
Man.
them folks that ain't had no cable back in the day, so Static Shock used to be one of the main cartoons I used to watch with Recess and them. I had to
Right,
watch Static Shock, but I love Static Shock for sure.
right, right. Kids WB, like I said, Codename Kids Next Door, Dragon Ball Z,
Mm,
list goes
mm,
on. List goes on.
mm.
I'll take different aspects of all of these cartoons and find ways to kind of use them all in my own way. So
But I see cartoons because it's like different categories of cartoons because you got anime, it's just different types. So like, how did you come into? Because of course we're gonna get into like you making like the book, and then also Cartoon Junkyard. We don't get into that, but like, how did you come up with the ideas to kind of be in a certain lane when it comes to cartoons? Because I feel like you could see all different type of cartoons. Like SpongeBob is different from Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is different from Code Name Kids. That, like, it's just so many different types. You got Little Bill. I used to love Little Bill. Like different type of
Yeah.
cartoons. So how did you come up with like a lane for the cartoon that you've been creating?
I think that's the hardest part about being creative, just figuring out which lane to stay in. I think the
Mhm.
biggest tool someone can have in their arsenal, especially if you're creative, is the ability to focus. And so it's just about sitting down and feeling which one resonated the most with me and feeling which style I could bring that was kind of new. And that's the hard thing to do because everything's usually recreated. So you have to add your different twist to it and add your different feel and your flavor to it. And so it was just, man, just revelation, sitting down and doing something that's different and that hasn't been done before. That excited me.
Gotcha. And since you're creative, I know, of course, there's different type of creatives. Like, do you feel like you're a creative that know how to draw and like can get on a paper and sketch, or you just come up with an idea and figure out how to make that happen, no matter if it's
Yeah,
you or
that part right there. That part right there. I mean, I'm decent at sketching though, bro. I'm decent at sketching, but like my role, like I can think of these ideas. I can think of the ideas, and there's been times where I've tried to take courses on drawing, and I'm like, man, I'm spending too much time trying to do something that I'm not supposed to be doing. I operate
Mhm,
best right here,
mhm.
and
Right, right.
I can bring the right people around me who can get the idea to fruition.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, that's the same way I am. If I have to write or draw, it's
Mhm.
gonna be a bad sight. But I could come up with something in my head and be like,
Yeah,
"Hey, can we try to create this and figure it out?" So I'm the same way. So I consider
cool.
myself a creative, of course, in a different aspect. But I feel like when it comes to creativity, the mind could take you wherever. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's crazy about your mind. Like you said, you just had a cloth in your hand coming up with ideas. And like for me, it's like that with music. It's like
Yeah.
I could listen to music. Like I love Big Sean, Larry June, and anytime like I'm
Mhm.
listening to them, I could come up with like video topics. I could come up with like
Wow.
different ideas that I want to recreate when it comes to like YouTube shorts and Instagram reels and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
like that's my I wouldn't say my inspiration, but it helps me with my creativity. So
Wow.
like I can really be on the same page with you when you say with your creativity and then the blanket and things like that, because everybody has these different identifiers that help them be in that creative space. And it's cool to see and hear about different ways that you're creative and I'm a creative. And then when I talk to other creatives, they'd be like, yeah, this is what really get me in this spark. So
Yeah.
but we gonna get back to creativity because I could talk about creativity all the time. But we
Yeah.
here to really get to know Sean a little bit more. So I know you recently got married. Congrats on that. You know what I'm
Thank you, bro.
saying?
Man.
Jumping the broom. So like,
Man.
how's that been for you, man? Like, how did y'all meet? How did y'all end up tying the knot? Like, walk me down that, because I've been married before. I'm a divorcee, so I can't speak on what a good marriage has been like, but like I can understand like being new into it, like what goes through your mind. So like, how has it been for you, man?
Hey, bro, that right marriage is coming for you. It's coming for you,
Oh
though.
yeah, 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 for
You
sure,
know
for
that.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, let's see. Queen Carrie, we met. Actually, it was a funny story. She would probably say something different if she was on this podcast, but since I'm on the podcast, let me tell you my side of the story. So it was New Year's Eve, literally like probably, man, 11:30 before New Year's hit at church. Our church was having this like, it's kind of like a party, everybody to pull up to. And on the way
Hmm.
there, I was telling my cousin, man, like, I just feel something in the air about tonight. Something special is gonna happen
Hmm.
tonight. I don't know what it is. So I get into church, it's packed. I mean, we had to park on the top of a hill, put the little brake all the way up.
The e-brake.
E-brake on, you know what I'm saying, 90-degree angle, you know. So we go in church, and I'm with my cousin. I look to the other side of the building, and I see this lady who's Carrie, and I was like, bro, you know, you see this girl over there on the other side of church, man? I'm gonna have to go talk to her. But there were so many people, Corey, like it was gonna take effort for me to get all the way over there. And I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna let this opportunity pass, you know, not even worry about it.
You ain't wanted to go through the hassle.
Bro, right. Can't be sweating in church, man. I got my, you know, I'm trying to look good, got my suit on.
Right.
All that went out the window. 12 o'clock hit. I look over. They're leaving church. Like her and her sister look like are leaving church. And something just took over my body. You know, God just punched me in the stomach. It's like, go. So I go back. I go on the back of the church. I meet Carrie at the door. And that's when I see she had a whole crew of women with her, AKA the Shark Tank. And so, like, man, I can't stop her in front of her whole crew. Yeah. With the Shark Tank, I can't stop the whole crew.
You know how that go, man.
Bro, I hold the door open for all of them. Watch them as they walk out. God hit me in the stomach again and said, go. So go in the parking lot. I stopped the whole crew, the entire crew. I'm talking to Carrie. She's not even looking at me. No attention. None. She thought I was a church greeter. And so, I figured I'd never see her again. But we had a mutual friend from USC who ended up plugging us up later to keep things short. And then, the rest was pretty much history. And we've been on the same page ever since, you know, and working through things and learning about each other. Yep. So it's been beautiful.
Hey man, that's a beautiful story, dog. I love to hear that. I love Black love. I love hearing authentic stories like that. And I feel like since you tied the knot, since you married, you know, I feel like communication is big in relationships, man. Communication. I say communication, authenticity, being genuine, who you truly meant to be. So, like, would you say, like, in your marriage and relationship, what are some practices you all have used to, like, make sure that communication is at the forefront, and you know, y'all can be authentic and genuine with each other, no matter if it's something that's bothering you, something going well? Like, what would you say, like, what is a number one, I guess, tip you can give for people trying to make sure that communication is at the forefront of their relationships?
There's 1,000 things I could suggest. The best thing is we do counseling pretty much every 2-3 weeks.
Oh, that's good.
Counselor, and man, that has been everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the counselor, it's good when you find someone who will check both parties.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's good to have somebody who's also outside of the family to give their perspective.
Right.
So, you know, the counselor is giving us tips on how to handle conflict when there's an argument that has the potential to start, how we can stop it, and you know, just giving the other person the floor and the space to talk about how they're feeling and why this made them feel that way before you interject how you're feeling.
Yes.
They have to speak. That's been the biggest thing. Like listening to really feel and understand. I'm still working on it, you know? But listening to really
nobody's perfect.
Telling, and instead of listening to respond, that's been the biggest thing.
Oh yeah, that's facts right there, man. I feel like that's something everybody could work on, honestly. And you know, the purpose of my podcast is also to give people gems, you know what I'm saying? People that want to be in relationships, want to be married, you know what I'm saying, want to be creative. So, you know, trying to tap in on all sides of you. So have you feel like there's been like challenge to getting adjusted to the married life, or you feel like you've been fully prepared to take on some of the challenges that may come with marriage?
Me and Carrie both did a lot of work before marriage, but you know, it still doesn't. Once you move in with somebody, because we didn't live with each other until we got married.
Oh yeah, that brings in its own. Yeah,
like that first month, bro. That first month. Like even moving the dishes a certain place, the little things, like
right,
turn into the big things, and then it's just, you know, I'm really blessed to have a partner who's like me. We come from different relationships where
Mhm.
we've both been in situations where something happens and your partner is just ready to bounce.
Mm.
Both of us, we're willing to work and stay and work through situations, which has been like just unbelievably. I'm just grateful for that,
Right, right.
and I don't take it for granted because I know what it's like to have somebody that's just ready to leave.
At a drop of a dime.
I mean, I've been the
Soon as
one a lot of times willing to work for it, and I get
Mhm.
put on the back burner. So
Mhm. Mhm. And that take a certain level of patience too, man. Sometimes when things don't go your way, or things go in the left direct in left, and you want to just sit there and work it out. It takes being patient, not only with yourself, but being patient with that other person, giving that person grace
for
to
sure, bro.
try to see if they can be a little bit better than what they were, or
Mm,
bring it up to their attention and see if they're willing to work on it, versus like making that decision for them, like, oh no, we just done. So I completely
yeah.
understand that.
Corey, what's your biggest tip, bro? What you got, man?
Shoot, biggest tip when it comes to
Yeah, marriage.
I would say my biggest tip is honestly just being open, man. Just being open. And when I say open, just open to like getting to know each other more, getting deep,
Yeah.
understanding each other, being open to try new things with each other, and also being open. Like, I think of it just like having your arms out. So I feel like when you're married, you should have your arms out to your partner, whether it's from a hug or whether it's just you being open, just showing your full self. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of times, from what I've seen in relationships or even people that I may have talked to in the past, if I'm trying to like move things forward, I need someone to be open with me. Technically, just be a skeleton. I need to know as
Mhm.
much as I can about you, because that's going to help me help you and help us, because we're the men. They look at us to lead, they look at us to come up with this and move the relationship in certain ways. But if you're not open, we can't really do that to the best of our ability. Or if you're not being your true self, I'm operating off of somebody that's not even you. Now
Mm.
it's 4-5 years come across, I'm like, well, who this is? Or now you have a problem with this. Well, you wasn't open with me. So I
Wow.
would say just being open, man. That's for
Mhm.
both parties. For both parties.
Right. Yeah. I'm writing it down, bro. Be a skeleton. Be a skeleton. I
Be a
like that.
skeleton, man. Leave it
Yeah.
all out on the table.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good, man. Thank you for dropping those gems for us on that. But now I do want to segue into what we are here for. You know what I'm saying? I see you doing your thing, your Arthur, Jam and Jelly. I did some research. Two twins, right? Two twins,
Yep.
two
Twin
different
brothers.
personalities.
Yep. Two different personalities. Yeah. You did the research, bro.
So before we segue to, I want to play this trailer here so people can get an understanding of what the book is, and what your idea and what your process was. So we're gonna play that real quick, and then we're gonna get into the questions of how it all came into fruition. Okay.
Sounds good.
Welcome back. It looks like Jam and Jelly will have their coldest mission yet. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Whoa! It's mission Jam and Jelly versus Icy Slice. Order the hit series today on CartoonJunkyard.com. Oops, brain freeze.
Man,
Yeah,
I feel like that take a lot to come up with, man. I'm thinking like, can I come up with a children's book? Probably not.
yeah, bro, man, that beat's so hard. I was about to drop a freestyle when we
Hey, yeah, I saw you over the night, man.
shout out my boy Friday for the beats, man.
Oh, Friday did that.
Yeah, me and
Oh, that
Friday, we've been like collaborating since college. Pretty much most of the music I get is from him. So,
yeah, I remember him at USC as well. That's dope. That's dope. So I know you have 3 books out now. Is it 3?
3, 4 is coming out potentially around May sometime. So
Oh, okay. Y'all hear that? Around May, potentially. Awesome. So my question to you, I got a bunch of questions about this, because I feel like being an author, for one, is a big deal, especially in the black community, especially as a black male, especially you're taking a lane. It's not like a autobiography. It's not about like, I guess technically you probably tie some things that you went through into the book, into small stories as well, but you know what I mean. Like, it's not like a self-help book. This is a children's book. It's a cartoon. You know, I haven't seen many people take this lane, and then, you know, that's why I was asking you some of the questions earlier, like how did you get into it, and then we done connect the cloth to it. So I feel like I know a whole bunch. But so like tell me like your whole process, man. Did you just wake up one day and like, yo, I want to make a book, and then I want to make a cartoon, and like how did it come into fruition, man?
Yeah, so in college, I actually came up with Jam and Jelly. I had the idea since college, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I'd be leaving parties, man, and going back and sketching Jam and Jelly and figuring out these ideas, and I just tucked it away. So I figured, you know, I don't know how I'm going to use Jam and Jelly.
Right.
And the part, like I said, about being creative, it's just figuring out like which thing sticks and which things to move forward with. And I didn't think of anything about a book at all until I got with Carrie. So that's another benefit of, you know, meeting the right person. Carrie's an author as well. She has a book out and another one coming out soon.
We should have had her on here too.
Yeah, she's right next door. She got ABCs for Queens in Christ.
Okay.
And so when she did her book and I had my cartoons already on stash, I'm like, wow, like this is how I figured out the way. This is how I can mesh my world with cartoons and make it a tangible figure for children, people, you know, all over the world. And this is how I can grow the company, Cartoon Junkyard.
Okay. So is Cartoon Junkyard a spin of Dope Junkyard? So like what happened with the Dope Junkyard? Because I do remember that. So
OG
like
fans, the OG boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So Dope Junkyard was a business I had in college where I had t-shirts, thrift items.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
then I created Cartoon Junkyard one night in college. But Cartoon Junkyard was something that I just never really moved forward with. I just kept trying Dope Junkyard for the next couple of years. And then, you know, just an idea like maybe 2 a.m. one morning after I graduated, it's like, hey, you know, Cartoon Junkyard could be a thing. You just have to figure out what it is and how to use it. And then I got with Carrie and it all clicked. Okay, I can use Cartoon Junkyard. This way I can start it with the books and then expand into much more with the ultimate goal of inspiring people all over the world, inspiring kids, encouraging creativity. And, you know, my plan is to turn a lot of these ideas into movies and TV shows, fruit snacks, board games.
Hey, creating it all. And that's a good thing I feel like about books is like you already had a story. Shoot, once you put that on the TV, play the same story. Right. On TV. So I feel like that's cool. So basically your wife inspired you to drop a book.
That part.
Hey, that's how you know you with the right person. When your significant other can inspire you and help you live out your dream, connect the dots. I feel like that's what it's all about, man. That's awesome. So both of y'all authors, from the sound of it, both of y'all authors, so y'all can have author talk. See, I can't have author talk. I ain't no author. But one day I will be dropping something.
I know it's on the way.
It's on the way. So when it comes to Jam and Jelly, man, we talking about these two characters, man. So what do the two twins stand for? I know they have two different personalities, but like, how did you create like, okay, I have two twins. One of them is going to be one way and the other one is going to be the other way. So like, are these like two personalities you feel like you have embedded in you, or it's like totally different?
Man, bro, you are a great interviewer. Exactly. Jam and Jelly are two sides of me, and I feel like they represent a lot of people in different aspects. You know, like you said, Jam right here is, of course, right there in the red. Jam is the more adventurous one, very sarcastic, rebellious, but he has a love. He still has love in his heart.
Mm.
And Jelly is, very smart. He's creative,
Mm.
and also has love in his heart. And so really can't have one side without the other side. The two balance each other out. And they go on to these different missions and save the day. And at the same time, there's different life lessons in the books that, the children experience. It's great.
Okay, so I'm hearing the common denominator is love. So do you feel like that's something that's truly embedded into you? Like that's something that you're always going to make sure that you give out and preach throughout your life? Is that's the reason why these two characters have that common denominator of love? Or it's just something you like, something? It's going to be love for these two characters.
Yeah. See, I never thought about that, but I guess so. I've always been, a loving, family-oriented person. And, I'll do anything for, the people around me, the people close to me,
Mhm.
even somebody I, don't even really know. Like I just love at the end of the day. So I never really thought about it in that aspect of why I have that as the common denominator between the two characters. But that makes sense.
Well, look at that. You could add that to your next interview you have. Like, yo, this is the common denominator because awesome. So like I see the two characters on your shirt, man. And of course I could see one has like the glasses and then one look a little more cooler. So did you do that because I feel like in the creative world, when people think creative, you don't necessarily put creative on the most coolest person. You know what I'm saying? You don't necessarily put creative on the most, the jock of the group and things like that, even though it's embedded in a lot of people, but that's not the persona that's given off. So do you feel like those two characters kind of played into that as well? And that's what you wanted to portray with when you made the characters?
Mm-hmm. Right. Ultimately, don't judge a book by its cover.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have Jam, who looks like more of the jock character, and then you have Jelly, who looks like somebody, you would just pass by in the hallway, wouldn't even speak to.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny part is, after I read these books, the students in the different schools, I asked them at the beginning, who they gravitate towards based off of the picture. A lot of people raise their hand and point to Jam. At the end of the stories, Jelly has a huge fan base. Because now you know about Jelly after reading the book, and Jelly also has a side of him that resonates with me as well, being underestimated and overlooked.
Ooh, boy, that I could resonate with that too. I could talk about that all day, man.
Yep. So Jelly's that part. Jelly's the overlooked one. Jelly's underestimated, and Jelly, at the end of the day, has missions where he saves the day. And it just shows you everybody has a skill, and you shouldn't underestimate or just walk over anybody, because that person could be the person that you may need one day.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. So I guess we're gonna segue into this too, because you just brought something to my attention. So at what point in your life do you feel like you was underestimated and overlooked to like portray that into the character? Because I think that could, I feel like a lot of kids would probably feel that way too, like, and don't know how to articulate it. But I feel like if it's like articulating the story, and then like you said, if it's portrayed in the story and they can connect with that, I feel like it kind of helps them feel like, maybe I am overlooked, or maybe I am underestimated, and see it in the stories. So like, where at in your life, it could be a scenario where you feel like you've been underestimated or overlooked at some point.
So many.
That's what I'm saying. I could think of.
Yeah.
Shoot.
So many. I'm trying to think of the one that would be most impactful to say on your platform. Recently went to New York, and the intent, it was like a birthday trip, and also the initial intent was to go and, meet some people about my books. So get to New York, start going to these different offices and, telling people about my books, with the hopes of maybe making a connection and find somebody who can help take things to the next level. As I'm meeting these different people, I mean, man, they wouldn't give me any attention. They were, shutting doors or sending their sending somebody that worked underneath them to come talk to me. I couldn't even speak to some of the people, at the top who I initially thought I was going to be meeting with. There was probably one person that, showed a little more care than others, but moments like that, it just ignites, it keeps the fire ignited. And and it makes me realize and confirm that the path I'm on is right, because how I'm building this and how God's put me in a position to build this is organic, and it doesn't need to be rushed, and the right people will come to it. I don't necessarily have to try my hardest to get it into the hands of others. We're going to run this thing organically. I like the independent feel that I have in Cartoon Junkyard, and it just affirms and gives me different perspective. So those overlooked situations happen all the time, and I just use them as I use them as a ladder to elevate me up to the next level, instead of a crutch where I'm just walking on, just being doubted. I was gonna push it. Yeah.
Man, I can't agree with that more, man. Shoot, I feel like, that hit me right there. Because honestly, every time you try to make a name for yourself, or you try to put out a new product, or you try to invent something, whether it's a book or whatever the case may be, it's always going to be those people that you go up to that you can clearly tell they are not interested, only because you haven't made it to a place where they feel like they should be listening to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to me, whenever I come across situations like that, I always be like, little do you know, little do you know. Man, yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that. And I also feel like that happens a lot these days in relationships, in the talking phases. A lot of people underestimate. A lot of people don't like, especially I be looking at videos these days, man, whether it's on TikTok, something to pop up and ladies talk about men need to make this, or they got to be this, or they got to be that. Only looking at it from a exterior and external perspective, not what's on the inside. Because technically, if I were to walk the streets right now, I'm wearing what I'm wearing right now, like, ain't nobody gonna think I'm not a billionaire, but ain't nobody gonna think I'm a billionaire. But if I'm out here flashing stuff, got the chain on, coming up in the Lambo, that's gonna give people that, like, oh, he might be doing something with his life, and I feel like society is trained in a way to think like that. So a lot of people are being underestimated because we're not giving off what society deems as, this is what this person should look like if they're doing something. You know what I'm saying? So,
bro, right on the money, bro. And there's a gift in that. I call that being able to see what isn't there. You have to be able to see what isn't there in order to have like real success in your life. That could be in business, that can be in a relationship, anything. You have to align with people who have the ability to see what isn't there.
Oh yeah, that's true, man. And one thing I say, when I first started my YouTube channel, for some reason I had a feeling. I just had this feeling in my gut. So I said, this YouTube channel gonna blow up one day. Like, soon as I posted my first video, I just had a feeling. I'm like, I'm gonna be on to something. And then ever since then, when I say it, it happens. So like, I applied to be selected as a 2019 Next Up Creator. I said, I'm gonna get that. Like, there's no way I'm not gonna get that. Like, I'm doing this, I'm in my own lane, I'm starting this from scratch, I'm gonna get that. Got that. Then I applied to be the Black Voices Creator of 2022.
Talk to
like, you know something? I know I'm gonna get that too. And it's not being cocky or anything like that, but you know how hard you worked at something. You know how hard you put in work, the grind it took, like the people that turned you away, like you putting out the consistency, the effort, and you doing it for a good reason, all these things are going to come back to you in full perspective in its different ways. So of course, like if you put yourself out there for an opportunity and you feel naturally that that's meant to be for you, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be meant for you. So yeah, that's why when you said that hit home for me, boy.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. And a lot of the right things, all this stuff that's happening now, man, where people falling for the, false facades and all of that stuff. All it is just making it clear for the people who are supposed to be around you, or the people who are supposed to have access to you.
Yeah, that's why I say, I feel like I was telling somebody just the other day, I feel like when you walk the right path, the right people surround themselves around you. Like you don't technically have to go out recruiting to be around this person and that person. It's like, as long as you do what you're supposed to do, focus on your mission and focus on your path, you naturally, organically start to gain people that, is supposed to be around you, that's like-minded, that might have similar interests, that might be on the same wavelength as you. It's not something you have to search for. Like when you on your purpose and when you driven and you're about what you're supposed to be about, it just naturally come together. You don't have to worry about it. You got to trust in what you can't see and trust in what you don't know, because you got to trust in what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing.
Amen. Hey. Yeah, bro.
But yeah, man, I just wanted to say that. I know we about to wrap up here. I appreciate you for, again, coming on here and shedding the light on what it feels like to be an author and how it got started. How it started from a cloth. Who would have known? And then also dropping gems on like marriage and relationships and things of that nature. And wouldn't mind have you come on again whenever you drop the next book and the next one. You know what I'm saying? But any last tips you want to give for anyone, whether it comes to being an author, or just keeping pushing down your path and overcoming being overlooked, or wanting to be married one day? Some gems, some tips you want to leave with the viewers, and then we'll end it there, man.
Yeah, and like I said, bro, I'm just grateful for this platform. I guess the last thing I can say is that I think we're all called to be an author in our own way. We're all called to, create in our own way, whether that's creating a safe space in your home for your kids, or that's creating a business. You're supposed to write things in your own unique way. We all have a purpose and a responsibility on this earth. And so, I think we're all naturally authors, supposed to be. So, that's all I got, man. I just, like I said, once again, just grateful for this opportunity, and I'm trying to come back. Bring me back.
Come on back, man. Come on back. We could bring you and your wife back. Both of y'all authors. We could.
Oh, that would be a good time right there. That's conversation for days right there.
Yes. We need to plan that. Bring you and your wife back. Talk about y'all journey. Talk about everything, man. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you again for being on here. Thank you again for shedding some light, dropping the gems. You know what I'm saying? You're welcome back anytime. And for those of you who are watching, make sure you go follow Shawn. And if you could drop your handle in there, I have it in the description. But if you could just say it out loud now, we can make sure that they can get a verbal go and follow too.
That part. At Cartoon Junkyard on every platform, Instagram, Facebook. Everywhere at Cartoon Junkyard. Be on the lookout for book 4 to come out. If you haven't gotten books 1, 2, and 3, get those now. And if you are watching this, you have a school or a business that you would, like me to pull up to and, talk to the students, read the books, and, just hit me up on those platforms and we can make something happen.
And hey, he got the cool, calm, and collected voice. So just imagine it's gonna be cool, calm, and collected in that classroom. You need somebody like that.
Oh, bro, I act out the books when I come to the classes. Man, I'm acting out the characters. I'm falling on the floor.
Hey, he give you the full experience, man. But thank you, dog. Appreciate you being on here. For y'all that watching, I will catch y'all in the next episode. Stay tuned to the Corey Jones podcast. Thank y'all so much. Peace.